Hello everybody, so welcome to this video and thanks for watching this demonstration of Arpligner. This is going to be a quick demo of the basic feature, basic how-to if you will. So Arpligner is a script for Protoplug, which is a plugin, a VST2 plugin for live coding MIDI effects and audio effects right inside your DAW. So you can code little scripts in Lua, for instance here to code some arpeggiator on steroids, if I may sound a bit cocky. And so what Arpligner does is to take a stream of chords and a stream of chord degrees of patterns, and it will sort of mesh them together. So if you know Cthulhu a bit or plugins like that, it's a bit similar. It will apply an arpeggiation pattern which you create yourself to a chord progression. And the specificity of Arpligner is that both the chord progression and the arpeggiation patterns are fed via MIDI. So I envisioned it originally so that I would be able to write my arpeggiation patterns straight from my piano roll in Bitwig or in any other DAW. But you could also be playing your arpeggiation patterns live. In that case, it would amount a bit to quantization. So I would play chord degrees on my, I would play notes on my keyboard, and they would be automatically mapped to the currently playing chords. If that makes sense, I hope that that'll make sense at the end of the video. So I opened here a small Bitwig session. So it's just because I use Bitwig as a DAW, but you could translate that to any other DAW. So the Arpligner VST is loaded here on this ARP track, and I have another track which is called Chords, and which has no instruments, and which contains only some chord clips. So very simple. Here is a very simple E7 chord that lasts for 1 bar. And here I will have a much shorter clip, which is only one beat long. And this clip is going to be my arpeggiation pattern, and it goes on the same track than the Arpligner plugin. So Arpligner is kind of flexible in how it works, but the way I do that is I put Arpligner on the track that contains my patterns, and then I set it up so it receives the chords from another track. So in Bitwig, I have the note receiver plugin, which I set to receive chords from the first track. But you could hook that up however you want, as long as you have one dedicated MIDI channel for chords. And by default, it's the chord 16 that Arpligner will expect. It's the channel 16, sorry, that Arpligner will expect. So right now I only have a chord. I don't have a pattern, so that won't play anything. So let me just write a small pattern that goes with that. So I'll explain what I'm doing later. So let's have just basic 16 notes. And now if I play it, oops, it's not the right clip that's playing. It should be that one. Here, yeah. Already going a bit ahead of me. So just one chord repeating for 1 bar, and the same pattern is applied to each beat. So a 4-note chord, and here you have a 4-degree pattern. You can sort of guess what it means. So C3 is the reference note. It always corresponds to the lowest note of the currently playing chord. So and you will go 1 degree of the chord up by going 1 semitone up in the pattern clip. So C sharp 3 will be the 2nd degree of the chord, D3 will be the 3rd degree, and D sharp 3 will be the 4th degree. But then what happens if I move it to E3? I don't have a 5th degree in my chord, so what happens then? What happens is that it loops back to the 1st degree of my chord and transposes up 1 octave, so that the global shape here, the global ascending shape, is reflected in the final melody. And it goes also the other way around. If I go below C3, then it will be the last note of my chord, but transposed 1 octave down. And I could do something like that, for instance. basically the same shape, but 1 octave lower. So you're not limited to 1 note per step. You're not really limited to steps. It's a piano roll, so the point of it is that you can do whatever you want. So for instance, you can have steps play several notes. Let's transpose that up a bit. Oh, so pretty. So yeah, that's just a 1 beat pattern. So again, we can extend that. Let's have a little descending shape like that. Okay, so fine and dandy, but it's a bit annoying to have always the same chord repeating. So let's switch to another pattern which contains a progression, so a 4-bar progression. And now, oops, I need to keep playing. And here you can hear what happens. So I have here a 2-beat pattern applied to a chord progression. So the zoom levels are not exactly the same. Let me just edit the 2 clips at the same time. Where's my layered view? Okay. So yeah, you can see that the chord clip is way longer than the pattern clip, but because they are of compatible lengths, meaning that one is exactly 1/8 the length of the chord clip, it means it will loop nicely. So what's the point of that? Well, just like any arpeggiator, it allows you to apply a rhythmical shape to a chord progression. And here in that case, I have all the tools I want inside my piano roll to be either writing by hand my arpeggiation patterns or playing them live and recording them and reusing them. The point of splitting, the way you use it is less as an arpeggiator in the strict sense of the term, but more as a composition tool. I'd like to separate the harmonic content from the rhythmic content, and I try to mix and match them and try different things until I find something that's nice. And here I have all the freedom I want to make my patterns as complicated as I want. For instance, here all my notes are on the same MIDI channel, but I could be using several channels at the same time. And so Arpligner would also output on these same several channels, so I could even have a multi-instrument, a multi-timbral arpeggiator, if you will. So also I've been very quantized here, but let's do something fun. Let's say I want to play my arps using some polyrhythm. So I'm gonna say this note, which is still 2 beat long, you're gonna split it in 4 notes, and then that degree, originally 2 beat long too, you're gonna split it in 3 notes, and that's gonna be let's make it a bit more spicy, like with some sort of bass here, a bit lower maybe. Let's have some lead which will follow the third, so let me go to no, not adaptive. I want to go to triplet view, thanks. Yeah, that's here. Try all. So let me do a triplet thing here. Sounds fun, bit messy, but I hope it allows you to see the gist of it. So you see, it's pretty quick to develop some interesting patterns, which you can then reuse over whatever chord progression you want. So I also use, for instance, the Scalar 2 plugin to find some chord progressions, or I record them live and then I try to work on them a bit using that sort of techniques. So something fun you can do also indoors with the probabilities is set set chances of the notes. For instance, I could say these two notes, they don't play all the time, and this is going to be reflected in your pattern. Let me just remove the bass. It's annoying. Okay, let's do something else. Because we're working with MIDI, we're at liberty to change the velocity of our notes, and it will be reflected in the end patterns. So let's make a very huge velocity at the beginning of the first beat, slightly lower velocity at the beginning of the second beat. Yeah, pretty fun. What else can we do? I think I'm gonna stop here for this first video. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it shows how to use the tool and the point of it. So I'll probably be making a second video with bit more covering a bit more the advanced features. And so I thank you a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.